Imaginez pouvoir retrouver en quelques clics toutes les offres de services adaptées à vos besoins. Découvrez le Hub Meet Africa, la plateforme digitale d'orientation et d'information des entrepreneurs de la diaspora africaine. Vous recherchez des opportunités d'affaires, des programmes d'accompagnement technique ou financier, de l'information, des partenaires, des experts ou des consultants locaux? Conçu par et pour ses utilisateurs, le Hub Meet Africa met à votre disposition gratuitement une cartographie simplifiée des dispositifs d'appui, quel que soit l'état de maturité de votre projet, le secteur couvert, le pays visé et vos besoins d'accompagnement. Identifiez des partenaires et experts basés dans le pays de résidence ou d'installation de votre projet d'entreprise et obtenez des conseils sur mesure et des retours d'expérience pour le mener à bien. La recherche d'offres d'accompagnement n'a jamais été aussi simple. Les offres du Hub Meet Africa proposent des informations ciblées et pertinentes à tout entrepreneur de la diaspora désireux d'entreprendre en Afrique. Concrétisez vos projets business grâce aux outils collaboratifs et partagés. Positionnez votre projet grâce à l'outil d'aide à l'orientation. Accédez à des ressources efficaces et vérifiées pour comprendre le marché local et développer votre business. Entrez en relation avec les organismes d'appui à l'entrepreneuriat, les mentors, les experts, les investisseurs et tous les acteurs au service de l'entrepreneuriat de la diaspora en Afrique et en Europe. Interagissez avec les membres de la communauté à travers un post-it board et bien plus encore. Vous avez des idées et des rêves en Afrique? Vous souhaitez partager votre expertise et vos compétences? Rejoignez la communauté du Hub Meet Africa.
Eh bien, bonjour à tous et à toutes. Merci d'être
Hello and welcome. Thank you for being with us. I am going to start by sharing my screen. That is going to be our guide for today. Can you see my screen? Hopefully, yes. Yes. Thank you for being with us, dear participants. We're going to speak about experience sharing, diaspora entrepreneurs, Tunisian diaspora entrepreneurs, what opportunities and what to do to support them. I am going to do a short presentation of ANIMA and our hub. You've already watched the previous presentation, and then the different speakers are going to have their presentations. And finally, there will be a Q&A session. We would like to have an interactive seminar. It is always interesting to have a discussion at the end. Speakers that we have here are experts. All participants, please do not hesitate to ask your questions in case you need further information. Right, we can start with some housekeeping. This webinar is going to be in French, but there is also simultaneous interpretation into English. So if you want to switch the language, you can click on the globe and select the English language.
For the people who want to follow this webinar in English, you can click on the little earth at the bottom of your screen, and you should be able to follow this webinar in English. Thank you. Également, le webinaire est enregistré.
Right, the webinar is being recorded, so you will be able to watch it in replay because it will be uploaded in the ANIMA channel. In order to have a smooth webinar, please switch off your cameras and mics and raise your hand if you want to speak in the Q&A session. While during the speeches, do not hesitate to write in the chat questions or remarks. Having said that, we can get down to today's topic. But first of all, who are we? ANIMA. ANIMA is a platform for economic cooperation among Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. It is a network of about 70 organizations with APIs, research centers, different networks, companies, innovation centers, and so on and so forth. So it is a network addressing common challenges in order to strengthen sustainable economic development in an attractive way, share experience. And we have four main pillars. First of all, the promotion of investment and impact. We support the private sector. Third, innovation. And fourth, the mobilization of talents who have gone abroad, experts, talent. We're here to speak about Meet Africa. It is a European a project for European mobility for entrepreneurship in Africa. It is a project involving the European Union and the French Agency for Development with expertise, France, ANIMA, GIZ, and the Presidential Council for Africa. We have two main components. On the one hand, we want to tackle diaspora entrepreneurs in 6 countries: Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Mali, Morocco, Senegal, and Tunisia. So this is one of the reasons why we are doing a webinar with a country focus. There was one about Morocco this month. So today, Tunisia, and then there will be one for Senegal, and then other webinars, each for one of these 6 countries. And then the second dimension is the digital platform, a Euro-African platform giving information and orientation for diaspora entrepreneurs. Meet Africa is also a supporting program for 140 entrepreneurs. Then with the funds supporting 170 companies, one Euro-African network of organizations to support entrepreneurship of African diaspora. Then on the 11th of February, there was an event in Paris with more than 3,000 visitors. Now, let's speak about a hub. Meet Africa. It is a platform providing orientation and information about diaspora of the 6 mentioned countries, that is Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Mali, Morocco, Senegal, and Tunisia. And this hub has 2 main goals. First of all, to provide information and orientation for entrepreneurs. And it does that by orienting such entrepreneurs towards dedicated services at different levels. So it really depends at the stage in which these companies are. Second aim, that is to do networking, to create links between different players in the Euro-African area. That is why we invite all participants to be active and to participate in the different activities that are available in the hub. The more interaction there is, the better it is. So we are here once again to speak about Tunisian diaspora entrepreneurs, what opportunities and what support. We have a fantastic panel of speakers today. Nadia Touil, who is the Deputy Director of FIPA Tunisia, Ines Trojette, Secretary General of ATUGE and Associate Professor at ESPI Paris. Then we have Wahiba Rhim Ameur, Project Manager at ICMPD, International Center for Development of Migration Policies in Tunisia. We have Michel, Bauza, Director of North Africa for Business France. And finally, Ibtissem Kerdjani, Project Manager for La Banse, that is a Tunisian incubator. I am going to give them the floor to speak about their respective organizations in a minute. So thank you again for being with us, and I'm looking forward to your presentations. Wahiba, is the first speaker. Wahiba, are you with us? Are you here, Wahiba? Hello. Thank you for your invitation. I'm glad to be with you today. Should I start with my presentation? Yes, exactly. Okay, thank you. My name is Wahiba Rhim Ben Ameur, project manager for ICMPD, and I am also expert in mobilization of diaspora projects and supporting diaspora. I'm going to speak about the diaspora in Tunisia. There was a survey carried out in Tunisia. It was carried out in 2021 by the National Institute of Statistics and the ICMPD. That is why we have figures, we have real data, reliable data about the impact of diaspora and returning migrants, but also migrants who are right now in Tunisia. Okay, having said that, I think that we should take a step back to know more about immigration in Tunisia. So there was, we could observe migration phenomena. There was a survey carried out in between 2021 and March 2022. It is based on really specific concepts, with definitions of current migrants and returning migrants. There are 4 different concepts, non-migrants, including non-migrants, that are the reservoir for immigration. Today, we are just going to speak about 2 categories, that is, returning migrants and current migrants. So current migrant in the framework of the inquiry is considered as a person who has migrated, so any Tunisian national citizen older than 15 years old residing in a country that is not Tunisia for more than 3 months. There is a big difference between current migrant and people who reside abroad. On the basis of this definition, we could speak about 160,000 migrants, and there is a big difference between men and women. These figures are really different from those provided by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs because the definition itself is different. As for returning migrant, according to this definition, returning migrants are people who have lived for at least 3 months abroad and who have come back to Tunisia, people older than 15 years old, because this is the reference age. According to this definition, we could speak about 211,000, 117,000 men, and the rest women. Okay, speaking about diaspora investment in Tunisia, 9.8 million, 3.4% men and 1.5% women. So once again, you should always bear in mind the figures that I said before. So the percentage increases with age. You can see that diaspora invest once they are older than 60 years old, almost retired, they increase quite a lot. We can see actually, we can't see the presentation. The speaker is referring to a slide, but we can't see the slide, actually. Okay. So in the age range between 25 and 34, the investment are quite low. As for current migrants, most important sectors are farming, real estate, trades, cafes and restaurant services. Then real estate has about 20%, agriculture 14% more or less, non-agriculture, soil 17%, real estate 44%. And then trade 6% and 4% for cafes and restaurants. Then, speaking about the breakdown by level of education, you can see it in the slide, but actually we can't see the slides. So by education. You can see 43% of second level doing investment. Then there is a second category with 26% of higher education for diaspora. So with an investment of about 30%, so 27, just below 30%, 27%. And as for vocational training, the percentage is about 8%. So people who invest the most have higher education normally. As for investment in general, then as for returning migrants, people who have lived abroad, just 20% of them have carried out projects in Tunisia. This rate increases together with the length of migration. As for sectors, agriculture has the higher percentage. Before 2000, about 30% of them have invested in agriculture. After 2000, sorry, in construction, so real estate. There is a change in agriculture. Since 2000, construction is the biggest sector. It ranks first with 37%. That before 2000 amounted to 19%. Real estate was 8% of returning migrants investing in real estate. So it increased a bit after 2000. Non-agriculture soils, it was 0.7%, and it reached 5% after 2000. As for industry, that's the opposite. Before 2009, percent for returning migrants, and then it decreased a bit after 2000. These are figures that are really useful to study the phenomenon. So commerce, before 2000, we have before 2000, 24%, and after 2000, 21%. And then as for the sector of cafes and restaurants, from 6.2% to 9.1% after 2000. So as for the type of investment on returning migrants, we also need to consider what is the reason for their return if they decided to come back. Then there was a big change during the pandemic. As for voluntary return, 21% of them 21% of them returned voluntary, but some people came back to Tunisia because they retired. Then there was also a desire to invest to improve their quality, their living standards. But one of the reasons why people decided to come back is for family reasons. So about 17% of them. But some people decided to come back voluntarily for education and training, 15%. So for people who came back because they were forced to do it, for example, about 16% came back for work-related reasons, and some of people decided to come back for reasons of vulnerability, 16.1%. So it's a minority of people who decided not to invest. And then there were people who were forced out of the country, and for that amounts to 20%, about 20%. As for investment reasons, the intention to invest for returning migrants, 31% of such migrants decided to invest, out of which 35% men and 17.3% for women. So this is the current situation according to statistics. We should bear in mind that this is the first version of the inquiry. It was carried out also in Jordan, in Egypt, in Tunisia, and in Morocco. It is the first national inquiry on migration. So thank you again. We can also send you the presentation if you wish, but on our website you will find the whole report. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this conceptualization and for this informing notions. Sorry very much for the slight delay in the presentation, but you will be receiving the presentation in the documents of the webinar afterwards. I leave now the floor to Nadia to explain the possible support. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank, first of all, ANIMA for the organization of this webinar, Expertise France as well for the piloting of the Meet Africa 2. During my presentation, I will present rapidly FIPA Tunisia. FIPA is called as a Foreign Investment Promotion Agency. It is a public institution in charge of promoting, encouraging investors from abroad to invest and create projects in Tunisia. FIPA creates also the necessary training, the follow-up, the support of the investor and the project throughout its life in Tunisia. Our objective is to foster an image of Tunisia as a place to invest and to create an environment favorable to investors from abroad in order for them to attain their strategic objectives. So we are the first point of contact of investors from abroad, countries in Europe. As you can see in the slides, we have Paris, Milan, Cologne, Londres, Madrid. So it's a network of experts from abroad. Let's move to the presence of external investors in Tunisia. We have more than 3,700 external companies in Tunisia. 3/4 of them are completely exporting and allowed the creation of more than 500,000 jobs. In 2022, I don't know if you see the slide. We have registered more than 500,000 operation of investment, allowing the creation of more than 11,000 direct jobs. I would also like to mention that direct investments from abroad are essentially in manufacturing industry, mechanical, electrical, electronic, components for aerospatial and automotive industry. So our historical partner, so Europe, is strongly present in the first 4 positions as an investor. Okay, so thank you. In the investment from abroad, coming from European countries. Let's move to the next one. Here you can see the main great groups that we have in Tunisia, North America, Europe, and so on and so forth. As you can see, this development dynamic in Tunisia is fostered by a series of advantages that the country has. First major advantage is the strategic positioning of Tunisia, so in the middle of the Mediterranean, allowing to serve the African and European market whilst taking advantage of the agreements of the European Union and the African countries. We have several contracts of free exchange with Europe and with the Arab world as well. We are linked with Africa, East and West. Moreover, we have Sub-Saharan Africa trade agreements. Second major advantage is the human capital. So if we can move to the next slide, we have a quality human capital that is available. More than 65,000 newly awarded alumni joined the international market. So that gives a lot of technical competence skills. We also have managerial skills, and this allowed several companies to have 100% Tunisian management in their branches in Tunisia. In terms of, can we get back? So the Tunisia was awarded with the first country as innovation in North Africa, 65th on the world scale for scientific research, and 13th on a world scale for scientific and technological research. If we talk about the innovation ecosystem, I would like to talk about the Startup Pact, which is a program dedicated to new technologies with the objective of placing Tunisia as a startup nation at the crossroads to Europe and Africa. This proposes more than 20 measures in order to support startups, to simplify administrative procedures, and to foster startups in the country. This law is structured around the merit label, and it has been internationally recognized and received the prize as best program to create a startup environment in the Startup Without Borders event. It has always been classified 23rd best program in the world and first for North Africa and Middle East, without forgetting the bulk of law managing the environment. Tunisia implemented as by the 1st of April 2017 a new laws granting guarantees for investors from abroad and giving them access to several sectors, as well as, for instance, digital and innovation sector. Following certain criteria, the priority of the Tunisian government these are a priority. There are more than 20 activities considered as a priority sector, and these can benefit of the maximum focus in terms of subventions and of help in general. So the general advantages of the country in the strategy of the FIPA Tunisia throughout our experience for now more than 27 years with an historical presence in France as well. We already had to we already dealt with the European diaspora. We consider them as investors, and they contributed to the development of French companies in Tunisia, and we started with them a diaspora world. It's an event that is organized every 2 years. All of that to say that our objectives is to create this permanent interaction with the skills and capitals coming from abroad. In the spirit of continuing this dynamic and in order to better structure in interaction with the diaspora, FIPA launched a federating program in 2021. It is a program, it's a cooperation program with three main objectives. The first objective of the program was to fine-tune the aiming and to find qualified contact with skills and to identify a top tier of 150 personalities to be quote unquote used as partners for Tunisia's objective of promotion. The second objective was to raise awareness on the fact that a permanent implantation in Tunisia has its advantages, and also to influence trade communities and the great group where these people are managing directors or part of management. I'd like to add the characteristic of the program aiming for Tunisian skills as strategic for the investment. So CEO, top management, international consultants with the high strategic skills in European countries. I'd like to finish with an important step in this program. This is a roadshow in Europe. This has been organized in 2021 with the collaboration of our branches abroad. It is completely dedicated to our skills abroad. We went in Switzerland, in Germany, France, Italy, and the United Kingdom. These roadshows have been pushed forward by the authorities in the respective country to highlight Tunisian skills in strategic sectors like healthcare, agri-food, manufacturing, textiles, and several other sectors. The objective of this meeting is to gather propositions in order to improve Tunisia visibility. These recommendations have been put in a white book, allowing us to guide our communication and our value proposition to our prospects. And as in all ecosystem, there's innovative companies operating and having to invest are mainly in the sectors of new technologies. In order to explain that, I wanted to give you a highlight on the technological infrastructure in Tunisia. We have 4 technopole, we call a technology pole, 19 cyber parks dedicated to innovation startups, 10 competitivity pole. I'd like to thank Madame Asmache, the responsible of the program, Dr. Landing, presenting with us today, and I'll give her the floor in a couple of minutes to introduce you to the DOT. Let's go back to this system of new technologies integrated in the industrial ecosystem. There are several great groups in Tunisia operating in activities with high added value, as you can see, electric mobility, connected mobility, and smart manufacturing with robots, augmented reality, big data, and so on and so forth. Here you can see these startups, some startups that are involved in new emerging technologies, Astadi, Exproprié, and these all come from the Tunisian diaspora. That is what I wanted to present. Tunisia has a competition pool and it's favorable to all companies, and you have all the mechanism implemented. I give now the floor to Ms. Asmache to present the DOT. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invitation. I am a coordinator of the DOTA program. This is the first hub, innovation hub for digital in Tunisia. We are supported by the Ministry of Technology and Communication, co-financed and co-funded by the European Union through Expertise France. We are a facilitator, an ecosystem booster. We are here to put together several actors of the ecosystem to work together, co-build, and participate to each one's development in a sustainable manner and create a collective impact. We work essentially on 3 axes. First of these 3 is the startups. We have a cohort of startups that we host each year. This year, for instance, we have 28 startups. They have access through us to facilities, equipment, and different services proposed by the community. We believe that this diversity can create a lot more connection and impact. Second axis is the startup sub-organization. We have more than 25 partner SSO. So we are talking about incubator, accelerator, association working in the entrepreneur's interest. And the idea here is to create synergies in between the different stakeholders and to be able to offer through the value chain from the creation to the access to market and funding, the development of a startup. So any startup has a support. These proximity with the DOT made it so that these companies can work together, third axis is the Digital Transformation Center. We work on the digitalization of the private and public sector. And through the programs that we have, for instance, the Digital Center Academy, for training people on future jobs to fill the gap in between their theoretical studies and the needs of the market. We also have a partnership with the GSMA. We have the Industry 4.0 Hub and the Artificial Intelligence Hub. One of the projects is Data Landing. This is a program fostering the diaspora in Tunisia in partnership with FIPA, Expertise France, the Foundation in Tunisia for Development, and GIZ. The aim of this program is to foster the development of Tunisia through support of the Tunisian diaspora resident in France. They want to create project here in Tunisia. So the idea is to support them, to encourage them to create a project in Tunisia and to favor their onboarding. There are three main components. The first one is to raise awareness, to inform the diaspora on the opportunities and challenges of launching a project in Tunisia, and also to give all the necessary information and key resources that a project needs. These has been done through information sessions carried out in France, a catalog of the available services like legal, accounting. These suppliers are all in this catalog, and this catalog is available to the diaspora. There are also a FAQ documents giving precise and clear answers on all questions asked by the diaspora on the ecosystem and how to create a project. Then we have a support and assistance packages that will be created to give access to the diaspora to quality expertise. And these are tailor-made packages adapted to the needs of each entrepreneur. If they need accounting assistance, fiscal assistance, taxation information, the objective is to allow the launch of a project in Tunisia as easy as possible. Then we have a welcoming project at the hub. The idea is to welcome them in a dynamic and favorable environment and help them to connect to the entrepreneurial environment ecosystem here in Tunisia. So the data will be made available to the investors from the diaspora. They will be hosted here. They will have access to all the resources available, like studios, lab, meeting rooms, and so on and so forth. There are also some gathering and networking events. These will have the objective to put together all the companies and startups hosted with the key stakeholders of the environment to favor business talk. And we also have a series of technical webinar of thematic webinars talking about different topics linked to the entrepreneurial diaspora. In order to participate to this program, there will be a tender. People from the diaspora will have to submit their proposal. These will be assessed, and afterwards the results will be announced as we go along.
Merci beaucoup, Asma, pour toutes ces explications extrêmement intéressantes. On va laisser la parole à Ines pour ATUGE France.
Right. Thank you for all that information. Let's give the floor to Ines. Thank you for your presentations about how to encourage entrepreneurship. My name is Ines Trojette, the Secretary General of ATUGE France, and I am also Associate Professor at ESPI, University in Paris, and I also work at the UN in policies supporting economics. Thank you for the invitation. I am going to speak about the ATUGE Association that I represent today, and later I'm going to speak about a really interesting program encouraging entrepreneurship for youngsters who want to develop their projects. ATUGE is an association, an NGO that include people coming from universities in Tunisia. It is based in Paris, Tunis, and in London. We want to strengthen cooperation links between Tunisia and Europe. We also come forward, we also have our own proposals about policies related to Tunisia, and we are also in touch with recruiters associations, stakeholders, public associations. Our idea is to help our members to do networking, organize meetings and event discussions, and also to promote integration of our members in education and business sector. We have 8,000 members. We have different members, finance, culture, entrepreneurship. I am going to focus on the entrepreneur club. So the aim of this club, whose members are passionate for entrepreneurship. So the aim is to create a network among all the different stakeholders, investors, incubators, accelerators, to create opportunities for sharing between Paris and Tunisia, and also to support young entrepreneurs in developing their projects. In this framework, we organize a competition called Adventure. So for all of you, if you have any ideas or projects you want to be supported, listen up, heads up. So Adventure is a supporting program. It is also a competition. It has the same name, and we have done 14 editions of such a program. It is a supporting program for startup organized between France and Tunis, and we receive candidates from Tunisia, France, different European countries, and also from North America. The targets are youngsters, or possible candidates are youngsters who have a project, an idea. They want to set up their startup, and they want to have more information about and expertise about marketing, finance, and so on and so forth. Everything that is needed to set up a startup. Since March, the call for proposals is open, and it will be open until the 7th of April. I'm going to send you a link. The candidates will be selected on the basis of their project. In October, they also present their startups during the day of the big forum for entrepreneurship in October. It was in October last year. Projects and candidates selected could be part of different workshops with speakers specialized each in his or her sector: design thinking, legal, law, pitch, and so on and so forth. They can also benefit from a customized mentor. We have lots of success stories. We support between 10 and 15 projects between France and Tunisia. So if you are in Tunisia, go to our headquarters to Tunis, or if you are in France, you will find also our office in Paris. You will also have the chance to do your pitch in remote. Then we have sort of ambassadors. For example, we had one from British Angel, and he made a video to promote competition and youth entrepreneurship in general. As for the schedule, at the beginning of March, we launched our call for proposal until mid-April. Between the 10th and the 15th of April, there are the interviews to judge, assess the feasibility of your projects and what is the step of your idea, because it needs to be mature enough to be submitted and discussed among experts. Then between May and July, there are different workshops between 7 and 8. First of all, there is a workshop for design thinking in order to tweak together the idea that you have in mind and the problem that you want to solve through your project. A second workshop is held 2 weeks later, and it is about the condition of the market to prevent any failure, to make sure that your idea is really feasible on the market. And then there is a third workshop about communication strategy, because as you know, when you set up your startup, you need to find a brand, preferably an international brand name, in order to be attractive at international level. Next step, you choose your logo and your marketing strategy. Then, just a second. Fourth step is about your business plan. That is the pillar of your project with 2 objectives. First, to sell and present your project in fundraising, and then it serves as a roadmap for your project. This workshop is really important because it will give you the key to create a good business plan. There is another workshop that is about legal issues. The idea is to tackle all legal issues that are relevant during a startup setting up. So, for example, the amount of capital, the different legal issues, in order to make sure that your business is sustainable, can last for a long time. Another workshop is about fundraising. So what is needed to do an effective fundraising, in order to understand what are the expectations of funders, the process, to know what are the different available tools. You will learn about also legal law condition, and then between the month of May and July, so this is the period of workshops, then we'll give you some rest in summer so that your project can become more mature, can grow. And then in October there will be the pitch time, a workshop about the pitch, how to structure your pitch, how to train your pitch, how to improve at speaking, at doing your pitch. These are the 7 workshops that you will have the possibility to attend in case you are selected. About between 7 and 8 workshops every 2 weeks. Ever since the beginning of this competition, we supported 300 entrepreneurs and 21 companies. We also organize different conferences about entrepreneurship. For example, if you're interested, we organize a conference online at 6 p.m. about the topic Find Your Partner or Your Business Angel at international level. I'm going to send you the link to both today's conference and the competition. We also organize conferences, for example, Find Your Associate with a coach to entrepreneurs, in order to give you some tips about how to find your associate, your members. And we also work with the DOT. There will be a shared event, shared conference, for example, about stress leadership, stress and motivation. About this competition adventure, our aim is to support diaspora entrepreneurs in order to help you create your startup. So as I said, I'll send you all the link with all information, but please do not hesitate to ask me questions in case you need more information. Thank you a lot, Ines, We're looking forward to having all information. We will also share the
Merci
links and
Auriane,
information to
merci
all
à tous les
speakers. And the
intervenants
floor
pour
to
les
Ibtissem.
présentations et puis
Thank you,
même moi
Auriane.
étant
Thank you
représentant aujourd'hui un
for
acteur
the
de
presentations.
l'accompagnement
I
de
also
l'écosystème,
represent an actor
un
of
acteur
the
d'accompagnement, je
supporting
prends tout plein de bonnes
ecosystem,
informations que je note et
and I've
que je
learned a
partagerai par
lot
la suite
of
à nos entrepreneurs et c'est notre travail
made
au
notes,
quotidien de
and I
dénicher
will
les bonnes
share
opportunités, de les partager et de les
all
relayer auprès des
information to our
entrepreneurs que nous
members.
accompagnons avec les équipes au quotidien. Alors, bonjour à toutes et à tous. Je suis très heureuse
Hello
d'être
everyone, I'm very
connectée
happy
aujourd'hui avec vous,
to be
derrière
with you
l'écran, mais
today.
aujourd'hui, on a pris cette habitude et
We
encore
are
une fois,
now,
c'est un moyen de se sentir quand même en
it is
contact
a
avec
way
les
to
personnes
be
qui ne sont
in
pas
touch
ici, présents
with
en
you,
Tunisie. Alors, je suis
with
Ibtissem
people who are
Kerdjani,
not in Tunisia.
responsable de projet au LABES,
My
le
name is
laboratoire de
Ibtissem
l'économie sociale et
Kerdjani.
solidaire.
I'm
Donc,
in
c'est notre cœur de
charge
métier, accompagner les acteurs de
of
l'ESS en Tunisie
supporting
et dans la région.
actors in Tunisia
L'association
and our
existe
region. The
depuis
association
2012.
was founded in
Donc, je vous raconte un peu l'historique du
2018.
LABES et puis plus de détails sur nos programmes et notre rôle dans Meet Africa.
And then I'm going to
Alors, le
speak
LABES
about
est une
our role
association qui a été
in
créée
Meet
en
Africa.
2012
LABES was
et
founded in
pour venir répondre,
2012,
apporter des réponses
and
à des besoins aux associations.
idea was to
Suite à la
give to
Révolution, il y a
meet the
un
needs
certain
of
nombre
our
d'associations qui ont été
members.
créées, qui ont vu le
Lots
jour
of
et qui ont
associations have
exprimé
been
le besoin
created, and
d'accompagnement
they
et
expressed the need
en
to
matière de
be
renforcement des capacités,
supported
la
in terms of
structuration de leurs
capacity
idées de
building,
projet et puis même
structuring
tout
their
le project
projects,
management pour
and
réussir leur
also
projet. Et suite
all
également à la
project
Révolution,
management
il y avait ce
activities.
besoin en
After
effet
the
de
revolution, there was this
faire appel à la
need
société civile pour
to
venir répondre
come
aux
closer
besoins
to the
de
civil
la
society to
société
meet the
aux
needs
côtés du
of
secteur privé et du secteur
society,
public.
both at
Le LABES à
private and
l'époque
public
a
level.
commencé ses
LABES
activités
back then
avec des
started its
services de
activities
conseil,
as
d'accompagnement aux
consultant
associations et par la
agency to
suite, nous nous sommes
support
adaptés aux
associations,
réalités du
and ever
terrain et nous
since
avons aussi développé
we
un programme
also
d'incubation
developed
dédié aux
an
entreprises sociales et
incubation
solidaires.
program
Donc aujourd'hui,
for
nous avons deux
companies.
principaux axes sur lesquels nous travaillons. Des
We
programmes d'accompagnement
have
des organisations de la
some
société civile d'une part
main
et d'autre
axes. We
part des
support
programmes
civil society
d'accompagnement
programs, but also
des
we
entrepreneurs sociaux.
support
Donc,
social
d'une manière générale,
entrepreneurs.
le LABES intervient
In
aux
general,
côtés des
our
acteurs de l'économie
organization
sociale et
works
solidaire
with
pour mieux structurer ce
fair
secteur
trade
en Tunisie, dans la région,
companies
et puis pour les outiller
in our
une
region,
meilleure
in
mise en œuvre de leurs projets à
Tunisia.
impact et la mesure de leur impact. On est membre du groupe Pulse.
Or
Notre
rather
siège
social
à
and
Paris
solidarity-based
et le groupe
initiatives.
Pulse
We
est
all are
composé de
also members of
différents
Pulse.
incubateurs dans différents pays. Donc à Tunis, il y a
In
le LABES.
Tunis, we have
Au Maroc,
LABES.
il y
In
a Bidaya.
Morocco, we have
On est aussi
Abidaya.
au Sénégal avec
In
Trojette.
Senegal, we
En
have
Afrique du Sud
Touil.
avec
In South
Auribi.
Africa, we have
On est également en Serbie avec le programme
Serbia,
RICE.
we have the
Et
RICE
puis
program.
à Montreuil
And in
avec aussi un autre incubateur.
we
Donc
have another
ensemble,
incubator.
on
So
mutualise
together,
les bonnes pratiques en
we
matière
can
d'accompagnement des
pull
acteurs
good
des structures
practices
de
in
l'ESS
supporting
et
OSS.
on développe mutuellement des programmes
And we
d'accompagnement
also
périodiquement
develop
et puis en fonction bien évidemment
supporting
des opportunités de marché et puis des
program
besoins
according to the
des
needs
cibles que
and
l'on accompagne.
of our
Donc le
members
LABES,
and
il
the
est basé
market
à Tunis. On
opportunities.
compte
LABES is based in
une
Tunis.
vingtaine de
We
personnes
have
dans notre
about
équipe
20
et qui sont
staff,
dédiées à l'accompagnement
and they work to support
des acteurs de l'ESS. Dans le cadre de Meet
OSS
Africa,
actors.
donc
In
le
the
LABES,
framework of Meet Africa,
on est membre du
LABES
réseau Meet
is a member of
Africa
the
et
Meet
nous
Africa
avons pour rôle
network.
l'accompagnement
Our
des
role is to support
d'entrepreneurs
cohorts of
tunisiens
entrepreneurs
qui sont résidents
in
en Europe.
Tunisia
Donc, depuis l'année
residing in
dernière, nous
Europe. Ever since
accompagnons
last year, we
les lauréats Meet
support
Africa. Nous
Meet
avons accompagné
Africa award
depuis
winners.
mai dernier
Since last
une
May,
dizaine de projets et nous
we
continuons
support
aujourd'hui avec
about
deuxième
dozen
cohorte qui
projects,
compte
there is now a
13
second
projets.
cohort
Donc,
with
c'est des cohortes
13
qui sont
projects. So mainly
qui sont
cohorts
légèrement différentes de ce que
that
nous
are
avons l'habitude
slightly
d'accompagner, avec des besoins
different
particuliers.
from
Il y a certaines différences, en fait, par rapport aux cohortes
usual
locales en
cohorts,
Tunisie. Donc, de
local
l'ABES, on
cohorts.
intervient
So
en Tunisie, mais avec d'autres
works in
programmes
Tunisia, but
sur
also
la
with
région.
other
Mais là, pour le
projects
cas de
in the region.
Mid-Africa,
As
on
for
a souhaité vraiment
Africa,
s'impliquer dans ce
we really
programme et nous sommes aujourd'hui
wanted
très heureux
to commit
d'accompagner cette
ourselves to
cible avec ses
this
différentes
program,
spécificités, de par le fait
we
que nous
are
avons aussi
happy.
noté un certain engouement chez cette diaspora
Happy to
pour
be part of
l'entrepreneuriat
this
à impact.
project
Ce qui nous a
because we
encore
want
aussi motivés à aller encore plus
we are
loin dans
really
cet accompagnement
motivated by
avec eux et
supporting
dans Mid-Africa, c'est
entrepreneurs
qu'aujourd'hui, on
and
ne peut
forms
pas
of
parler
entrepreneurship
d'entrepreneuriat
having
sans
an
parler
impact
d'entrepreneuriat à impact. Donc, sur le pool
because
d'entrepreneurs que nous
it
accompagnons
is
dans
really important
Mid-Africa,
to speak
la plus
about the
grande
impact
majorité,
of
on parle de
entrepreneurship.
solutions à des
Very often we
problématiques
speak about
sociales, économiques et
projects
environnementales.
providing a solution to
Donc, dans le
environmental
cadre
or
de ce
social
programme, nous
problems.
mettons
In
en
the
place un
framework of this
dispositif qui
program, we
contient
also
différents
offer
formats. Mais pour cette cible
tool having
spécifique, nous avons
different
tenu compte de leurs
formats,
besoins.
for
C'est-à-dire que c'est une
our
diaspora
main
d'élite.
idea
On a tenu
is
compte de leur de ce qu'ils
bear
ont
in mind
exprimé comme besoin au tout
we
début du
work
programme
with
pour
elite
adapter
diaspora, and that is why
l'existant
we
de nos
customized our
méthodologies à
actions.
leurs
We customize
spécificités.
our
C'est-à-dire qu'aujourd'hui,
methods to
avec
their
ces cohortes
specific
Mid-Africa,
characteristics. So
on met plus
today with
l'accent
this
sur
Mid-Africa
l'accompagnement
cohort, we've
individuel
mainly focused
que
on
sur les formations
individual
collectives.
support rather than on
Ils sont à
collective
la recherche
training,
d'un plus de
group training,
conseils
because
rapprochés,
they
spécifiques,
want
que
to
sur
have
des
more
généralités collectives.
specific
Donc, ce
insights
qu'on a
rather
fait, c'est
than
qu'on a
general
proposé un
guidelines to
programme
suit
qui est
everyone. That is why we came up
axé sur
with
des
a
besoins
program that
recensés par
is
projet, qu'on
based
traite en
on the
individuel.
needs of the
Ensuite, il y a des temps
specific
collectifs
projects, individual
qu'on a plutôt designé,
support.
pensé pédagogiquement comme étant des temps d'inspiration et des temps de co-construction.
So there are
Pas de formation, mais
opportunities
plutôt
to draw
des temps
inspiration. Rather than
d'échange
training, I would rather speak
et
about
d'inspiration auxquels on invite des
opportunities during
entrepreneurs
which
diaspora,
entrepreneurs,
des profils dans
diaspora
lesquels ils peuvent
entrepreneurs can
s'identifier,
draw
ou alors d'autres
inspiration,
organismes de
or
l'écosystème pour
other
venir présenter les
stakeholders of the
opportunités qui
system
existent,
can
qui existent dans le
present
marché.
and share
Un
opportunities
élément
in
sur lequel
our
nous travaillons
market.
et sur lequel nous mettons
Another
l'accès dans le cadre de Mid-Africa,
important
c'est
focus for
l'appui
us
à
in
la
the framework
visibilité
of
également.
Mid-Africa
C'est ce
is
qu'ils recherchent et
visibility,
notamment pour développer leurs solutions
because
sur les deux
our
rives.
entrepreneurs
Donc en
need
Tunisie, ils ont
visibility
ce
to
besoin
support
d'accès
to
à l'information. Donc c'est ce qu'on fait,
promote
nous, c'est de les
their
mettre en contact
solutions
avec les bonnes
in
personnes, les bonnes
both
structures pour pouvoir
Europe
avoir
and
l'information
Africa.
dont
That
ils ont
is
besoin, pour
why
mieux comprendre le marché et puis pour
we
tester leurs
do our
solutions.
best
Et puis
to help entrepreneurs
l'appui
to
aussi à
test
la
their
visibilité
solutions,
pour avoir en quelque
and
sorte leurs early adopters et puis pour
we
valider leurs
help
solutions
them
sur
to
le
find their
marché.
early
Et
adopters.
conjointement avec
And
notre
at the
siège à
same time,
Paris,
with our
qui couvre
headquarters in
plutôt la
Paris,
rive nord de la Méditerranée.
works mainly.
Un autre élément
We
sur
also
lequel
work
aussi nous
with the
travaillons
northern,
beaucoup, et ce sont tous des
the
points qui ont
northern
été
coast of the
cités tout à l'heure
Mediterranean.
par les premières dans les
The
premières
first speakers have
interventions,
already
c'est
touched upon some of the points that I wanted to
les
talk
matchmaking
about,
et
for
puis
example,
les mises en réseau. Ça, c'est
matchmaking,
très important, on travaille beaucoup
networking, that is
là-dessus,
really
et puis
important. We work a lot
on fait beaucoup
on this,
d'activités ou
and we
d'actions
do a
de
lot of
fédération de communautés, parce que ça aussi, c'est
activities
un élément très important
to
aujourd'hui. C'est des
support
entrepreneurs qui
federating
rencontrent à peu
activities
près les
as
mêmes
well,
challenges, les mêmes
because
enjeux,
very
des
often
questions de paiement à
entrepreneurs needs
l'international,
to
de
face the main
dédouanement, enfin, des
challenges,
questions
customs,
juridiques
for
entre
example,
créer une
legal
entreprise en
issues
Tunisie, comment faire le lien
that
avec une
needs to
entité
be tackled
établie juridiquement en
when
France. Voilà, c'est des
setting up a
questions qui
company.
sont
So it's
partagées
more
par
or
ces
less,
entrepreneurs. Et donc, le fait de
these
créer cet esprit
issues
de
are
communauté, de les
common to
fédérer,
everyone. That is why we're trying to
aussi
federate
de
communities, to
renforcer la
create
proximité
communities, to strengthen
entre eux et avec
proximity
l'incubateur, fait qu'ils se sentent moins seuls et
among
fait
them,
qu'ils
and with
arrivent
the
à
incubator to
mieux
feel
dépasser ces
a
challenges et
bit
à mieux se sentir mieux
not to feel
dans ces situations de
alone
blocage et puis
and
à trouver des
to
solutions
find
ensemble en faisant appel à l'intelligence
solutions.
collective et l'intelligence de groupe dans ces cohortes. Par ailleurs
Also with the
aussi,
support of other
nous
players.
sommes très conscients et nous
We
travaillons
are
beaucoup
very
là-dessus,
much
c'est la
aware of
collaboration avec les autres
another
acteurs de
point.
l'écosystème,
It is
puisque
important to work with other actors
c'est
of the
là où
ecosystem, because
on travaille aussi sur le post
It is
programme.
also important to
Aujourd'hui,
work on
on
what
les
happens
accompagne dans
after
le
the
cadre de
program, because
MIT-Africa,
today
mais nous
we support
continuons par la suite
entrepreneurs
à les
through Meet Africa,
accompagner
but we also continue
ponctuellement et en les
supporting
mettant
them
en
ad
contact
hoc
avec
with an ad
des
hoc
structures, avec des
approach
clients, avec des investisseurs, avec les
with
médias. Voilà, c'est
investors,
comme
with
ça que nous continuons
media.
à les accompagner par
We
la suite. Et c'est
continue.
cette collaboration avec tous les acteurs de
So
l'écosystème qui nous
that
permettent de
happens
faire
in a
ça, notamment
collaboration
tout ce
with
qui se met en
all
place avec The
speakers.
Dot, tout le travail
For
qu'ils font avec
example,
la TUGE, avec la
the
FIPA, voilà,
DOT
avec
works
toutes
a lot
les
with
structures
ATUGE, FIPA. There
qui
are
mettent en
many
place des programmes de part et d'autre
organizations
pour accompagner les entrepreneurs et plus
doing their
spécifiquement
best
la
to
cible dont on parle
support
aujourd'hui,
entrepreneurs,
la
and
diaspora
namely
tunisienne.
the target that we're
Donc
talking
voilà,
about,
s'il y a des
that is
questions,
the Tunisian
n'hésitez
diaspora.
pas
If you have
sur le
any
LABES
questions
et
on
peut-être plus
LABES
spécifiquement sur l'accompagnement que nous mettons
or
en place au profit des
forms
entrepreneurs de la
of
diaspora dans
support,
MIT-Africa.
please tell me.
Merci.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Un exemple d'incubateur.
Thank you very much. It is really nice to have an example of an incubator with different possibilities. I leave now the floor for the last presentation to Michel Bauza. You have the floor, Michel. Thank you very much, Auriane, and thank you very much to all of you, because we realized before that I was the only man in the meeting today, and it was a pleasure to be together with the different panelists of this morning to give you the tools, dynamic, and solutions for as entrepreneur realize something in this relationship with which I think that right now it's a real treasure in between the two shores of the Mediterranean. And starting from your international strategy as an entrepreneur, having the possibility to tap into the different markets. My name is Michel Bauza. I am the chief of Business France in Tunisia. It is a public institution intervening to help entrepreneurs in France, based in France, to get more international. This is our core work. We also have branches throughout different countries and partnership like with FIPA. And we also have a program called International Volunteering, allowing to train youngsters within operational tasks around Europe and Africa. This is we are 1,400 people in 55 countries, and we cover a lot of the market, which are the priority markets for for France. We have branches in Morocco, in Egypt, Tunisia. And in Tunis, we have a team working for Tunisia and supporting the entrepreneur and their project in between France and Tunisia. I will not put slides up because we are a bit late, but you will receive all the slides afterwards. And I will talk about complementary things that are, well, complementary to what has been said previously by my colleagues. Well, the aim of this workshop is to develop your presence in Africa. You have a coverage of 35, 36 countries in exporting from France in Africa. And we also have created a white book, Africa, for entrepreneurs wishing to see where the opportunities are in Africa. And so given a census of the opportunities existing in Africa, you will have the link in the chat and throughout ANIMA. In North Africa, and especially in Tunisia, we have a team that is based in the French embassy. We work in an ecosystem which is quite rich in between Tunisia and France. This is maybe a peculiarity of the exceptional relationship that we have in between France and Tunisia. We have a lot of teams. Some of these teams are represented herewith today in this workshop and have presented several tools allowing to mobilize with the bilateral chamber of commerce, for instance, and others. So there are a lot of tools that are available in Tunisia to open up businesses. Our specialty is especially in the networking, business networking. This is our core job because we have workshops that are specialized. We have, ecosystem that are specialized by sector activity, like new technologies, energy, or agri-food, for instance, so that, let's say that you want innovative mushrooms that you want to sell, you need to talk to people who know what you're talking about. And so we have sectorial organization in France and abroad, allowing you to keep you in your professional environment. So, as I said, our core purpose is the networking and supporting French companies when you have a project in Tunisia. We do that through different solutions. In between these solutions, we have one that is around information. So remember that on the one hand, you have this white book that is called Business Guide. You can download it free of charge. We have a lot of information and testimony from people who went through this process to give you highlights and information in terms of legal, in terms of development. So this guide is completely free and it's available on our website for download. For those of you who are in France, we have a platform called Team France Exports, so the exporting companies network. And on this platform, you have information, continuous information on opportunities brought by the market and implemented in Ivory Coast, Tunisia, Senegal by Business France. That as well is free. You will have the link in the presentation you will receive. So have a look. It gives you an idea on the existing opportunity. There is also a North Africa Business France website allowing you to follow the news and things that could be interesting for you in terms of opportunities or on some tenders, on some sectors to know how to position yourself. In the presentation, you will also have the focal points, the contact points, so you can contact them from our teams. And there's support in order for you to understand the Tunisian markets and to create contact is either tailor-made in a supply contract that is proposed by Business France throughout the world. This is our French system. It is more or less the equivalent of the CEPACs for our friends that are in Tunisia. So it's a mix of FIPACs Tunisia and Agency for the Development. You have our help to make assessments, to make inquiries on the market you're interested in. And then you have several services that are proposed. You will be able to see all of that in the presentation you will receive. Do not hesitate to get inspired by it. An example, last week we were in Paris on a webinar on energy transition and decarbonizing the industry for companies having a need for decarbonizing their operations. We had the ambassador of Tunisia in Paris. And on the 23rd of May, we will be organizing the 6th France-Tunisia meetings to put together all the energies so that entrepreneurs in France and Tunisia can meet and develop interesting contact for their projects. In the main event, we also have an event called Ambition Africa. Each year it is done in October in Paris, and there you have the 54 countries in Africa that are invited. It's a really interesting panel of business meetings. You will have all the information in the presentation. The African delegation is really importantly represented each year, and a lot of African companies and French companies are taking part to this. As entrepreneurs of the diaspora, I know that you might not be in France yet, so please remember that amongst our teams, we have a team specialized on investing. So from a project started in one country, we support you in your investment strategy with the French government and French local institution. Is more or less the same as my colleague of FIPA does for Tunisia. You will have Altali that is the focal point for this, and you will be able to take part through him to this co-development support in between Tunisia and France. You know that we have 3,700 companies from abroad. We have more than 1,500 companies from France that are implemented operations in Tunisia, more than 500,000 jobs created. And at the same time, a Tunisian entrepreneur could have an interest to develop towards Europe in France. And this is really what creates value, this crossed development in between France and Tunisia. And we will be able to support you through this with the experts that you have seen this morning and from our teams. That is all for my presentation, and you will receive the presentation anyway with all the information. Thank you very much, Michel, and thank you very much to everyone for this moment. We still have 15 minutes in order to reply to a couple of questions and to conclude. It is not much time. We'll try to do our best. We try to have as many panelists as possible to give you all the key information. There was a question that I've seen in the chat and I'd like to ask you is, what are the keys of the success of a project, and what are the things to look out for to avoid the project not going through? And if one of you would like to answering, that would be perfect. Thank you.
Je vais peut-être commencer et puis pour ouvrir un peu
la discussion. I will be able to start maybe to open the discussion.
Alors, très bonne question, et puis après c'est une question qui est très souvent soulevée, et puis c'est parmi les premières questions qui nous sont posées par les entrepreneurs quand ils arrivent dans nos programmes d'incubation et les temps d'échange avec d'autres entrepreneurs à succès ou des success stories. Du coup, pour revenir plus en détail à la première partie de la question qui est quels sont les facteurs de réussite, ce qui me vient là tout de suite en tête, après je laisserai mes collègues du panel apporter aussi leur point de vue. La veille continue, c'est d'investir, de s'investir en fait dans la veille continue de ce qui existe sur le marché et dans l'écosystème de l'entrepreneuriat qui est très riche en informations, en opportunités et réponses en fait à leurs questions. Donc la veille continue sur cet écosystème et puis qui est très en lien avec où mettre les pieds en fait, c'est de bien s'entourer. Aujourd'hui, les entrepreneurs, quand ils intègrent des programmes d'incubation, d'accompagnement qui vont chez des structures d'accompagnement, des accélérateurs ou autres, c'est pas uniquement pour le programme pédagogique en lui-même, mais c'est aussi d'être bien entouré des bonnes personnes, entouré d'une communauté d'entrepreneurs qui rencontrent aussi les mêmes challenges, c'est être entouré par des expertises, tout un écosystème. Donc c'est gagner du temps en intégrant ce type de programme et puis être en connexion avec les réalités qui nous lient directement à la question de la veille continue. Et puis pour les challenges, peut-être pas je dirais pas les freins ou les échecs, mais plutôt des challenges pour les entrepreneurs tunisiens aujourd'hui diaspora. Disons un challenge particulier qui est la question des paiements à l'international, par exemple. C'est un sujet qui est très souvent soulevé et sur lequel il y a pas mal de travail à faire. Pour fédérer des acteurs de l'écosystème et pour remonter ça et regarder ce qu'on peut faire au niveau notamment des lois, comme pour le label Startup Act ou encore le label de l'économie sociale et solidaire. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire aujourd'hui pour répondre à cette problématique et relever ce défi de faciliter les transactions à l'international? Et puis, il y a un autre challenge, c'est l'accès aux statistiques sur les marchés, l'accès à l'information sur les parts de marché. Aujourd'hui, l'entrepreneur il rencontre cette difficulté d'accéder aux informations sur le marché dans lequel il s'insère. Donc, c'est tout un travail énorme à faire. C'est un peu le rôle de tous les acteurs pour pallier à ça. Voilà, c'est ce qui me vient tout spontanément en tête.
As a first answer. If I can continue on that, if I have a minute, because then I have to go. I do completely agree. What I say is the preparation is a marathon, so you need to have a treasury, you need to have specialized people, you need to be able to keep the thing in the long run. Do not forget that the major stakeholders are here today, so do not go alone. It is dangerous to go alone, so just surround yourself with this support, where there is a strong offer that can maybe give you sometimes too many options, and you might not be able to decide what you want to do. So if you are in France with the French company, remember that France Export Network has the possibility to give you, to offer you an advisor. We have a lot of people working in the different chamber of commerces. These people have a company portfolio, and they are there to help you in your growth, to give you access to the different information and support you might need in terms of financial, legal, and administrative. So you can be helped on the French territory by people. Now, if you are in another country and you have needs, you'll be able to contact these services on a local level, but you won't be able to tap into the French network. So preparation, validation of your business plan, of your strategy, and let people help you. We have people sometimes not having success despite the quality of the product because they started too fast and they didn't ask for help and support. Thank you very much, and I will be available. I'd like to thank ANIMA and all the stakeholders allowing for this panel this morning, which was really helpful and useful.
Thank you very much, Michel, for your presentation. As we said, the links will be sent. You will get the presentation. Can I also take this question? Yes, go ahead. I think that among the success factors, it is really important to have in mind the clear idea. What is the need? What is the need that you're going to meet? What is the solutions that you're offering? What is your target? Everything must be clear, and you need to be surrounded by the right people. Do not hesitate to talk about your idea to see what is the reaction of other people. And it is also really important to take part in workshops when you are working on your business plan. Ask for help to experts, people who have made it. ask them what they think about your ideas. So do not be afraid to share your idea. Nadia, would you like to say anything at all? Would you like to give some tips or speak about challenges that haven't been mentioned so far? I think that everything has been already said. Perhaps one thing that I could add is to be careful about the legal issues, be careful about the legal framework of startups. Ever since the beginning, it is really important to do all due documents when you are submitting to some funds, for example, if they can benefit from the Startup Act or anything similar. That's it. This is everything I wanted to say. Fantastic, great. We are going to wrap up. We have about 5 minutes left. Would you like to add anything at all, any general remark that you would like to share with entrepreneurs, something related to Tunisia, perhaps, or what is the best way to get in touch to, or the best way to get in touch with you or to get in touch with organization that can be helpful to them? Well, if I may, really quickly, if you want to participate to the competition that I mentioned, Adventure, there are many opportunities to support entrepreneurs. I talked about ATUGE, www.atuge.fr, or you could also get in touch with me on Facebook. You can write my name and I can give you the link to the Entrepreneur Club. If you have an idea for the project, you have time to submit your proposal, your application for the competition. It is until the deadline is mid-April. Get in touch with me. Do not hesitate to get in touch with ATUGE, the association DOT and other institutions are there, and there are many opportunities to support entrepreneurs in Tunisia. Seize the opportunities. So I would also like to say that you should not hesitate to get in touch with us with FIPA, because we could get you in touch with the members of the really rich ecosystem that we have. We could put you in touch also with public institutions to integrate you in the system. And finally, we also have offices. Some of our offices are in Europe and our headquarters is in Tunis. So welcome to everyone. We will welcome you all. Right. Ibtissem, would you like to add anything at all?
Merci beaucoup. Merci tout le monde de nous avoir écoutés, d'avoir posé des questions. C'était un vrai plaisir pour moi d'intervenir aujourd'hui. Je vous remercie pour l'invitation. Et puis, sur ces belles paroles de conclusion, je vous dis aussi à très bientôt. Et puis, osez parler de vos projets, de vos idées, osez entreprendre et
looking forward to
osez y
seeing
aller.
you again, and all the best for your projects and your ideas. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing all useful information that we'll be sending to the speakers, to the participants. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.